Hope my background looks a little better than it did even last week, so still a work in progress, but getting better. Greetings everyone, welcome to Climb a Mountain, an Indy author's journey podcast diary. I'm Riley Morrison. I've actually got a professional voiceover actor to do the intro and outro of my videos, and she does a much better job than me, but I'm just in the process of getting the intro movie made, and I'll probably have the outro voiceover at the end of this video, but I want to make a proper video for that and then have her voice over the top of it. She sounds a lot more enthusiastic than I can ever do. First up, I think I was way too optimistic about getting book 3 done by the next video. I haven't even finished book 2 yet of Raid Slayer. I'm about probably 80% of the way through the book 3 of Raid Slayer, but yeah, it's just been a kind of a hell of a ride just trying to write it and do life stuff and just, yeah, a whole bunch of other stuff. I helped another writer with her game lit book, just mainly editing it and reading over it to make sure it was game lit and that she's basically doing the right thing, which she was. But yeah, took a few hours of time for each. Like, she wrote 2 stories, so they're only like 4,500 words each sort of thing, but yeah. So that took a bit of time, which is fine because she's helped me. And yeah, just busy with life stuff in general, as usual. But yeah, I'm most of the way through Raid Slayer book 2. If anyone has watched my earlier videos, you probably know that I have a bit of a tendency to make things a lot longer than I'd wanted. So as usual, Raid Slayer's ended up quite a bit longer than I first intended. Probably by a good, 10,000 words or something. I originally planned it was just going to be like 4,500 word books each, and I'd just get them out there really quickly or whatever. But I mean, I'm still getting them out there relatively quickly, but yeah, they're going to be between 12,000 and 15,000 words long, it seems. Book 1, I actually took the first few chapters of book 2 out and put it at the end of book 1. So book 1 is now about 12,000 words long, something like that, to make it more in line with book 2, which was going to originally be like twice as long. I might have spoken about that in my last video, I can't remember. But yeah, it was going to be like twice as long as book 1, and I didn't want that. So still, book 2 is going to be still longer than book 1, which is fine because book 1 is probably going to be 99 cents. But yeah, I really need to bring book 2 to a close. Just a bunch of stuff happened, and yeah, I mean, having 3, I think there's 3 sex scenes in the book, two I think. They take up a bit of room too. I assume it's going to get worse as there's more characters. But yeah, I actually removed the sex scene from book 1 too, the early one in chapter 1. Just because I wanted to tone the sex part down a bit and make it more story focused. And then, I mean, there's a story to the sex as well, and the relationships between the characters build and things change and all that sort of stuff. But I didn't want to go overboard with the sex scenes because, yeah, I definitely, I don't want to be listed as erotica, basically. I mean, some people, there seems to be a bit of an argument over exactly what constitutes erotica. To me, an erotica story is a story that's, say, 80% sex and 20% the story around it. Like, the whole story serves the sex. My book definitely doesn't fit into that category. Like, the story is important. And then there's obviously the harem and the sex type thing as well. But that sort of supplements the story. And yeah, there's definitely character growth even in the non-sex stuff, but the sex stuff. And again, erotica, and some people have this definition, is basically just all about the sex. There isn't necessarily character growth. And the difference between that and a hot, steamy romance is that it's still all about the characters in a hot, steamy romance, not just the sex sort of thing. So anyway, like everything just always has to be so hard to define. But yeah, I really want to avoid the erotica tag if I can. Although, to be honest, I don't even think it's a death sentence to a book like I'm writing, because I've seen some books that are in the top 1,000 that are erotica. And even though you're limited, you can't run AMS, I don't think, and a whole bunch of other stuff, these books still seem to be doing pretty well. I still need to find out more. I am going to ask some questions in the litRPG group and hopefully get some people like Eden Red and others who have done all this type of stuff before to answer. I have spoken to them as well and found out quite a bit of information, but yeah, I still need some questions answered basically, because I definitely don't want to get in trouble in any way with Amazon. I don't know what happens if you release your book as non-erotica and then people complain and then it gets put as erotica. I don't know if that hurts you in any way. So that'll be another one of my questions to ask. I am reading other sort of litRPG harem type stuff, and I can't say some of them, I mean, the ones that aren't listed as erotica, I mean, some of them have graphic sex scenes. They just might not be quite as long as mine, I suppose. Mine might be like 1,200 words long or something, but yeah. And I mean, I describe a lot of the characters' feelings and all this sort of stuff, so these books don't really. They're all just very physical about what's happening, I suppose, and I guess, yeah, like I'm expressing the love the character has for the heroine women, anyway, a whole bunch of stuff. So maybe I shouldn't even be doing that, I don't know, but yeah. As to my other books, all the ads are still on pause. I think my British AMS ad is running. Mainly because I haven't bothered to cancel it yet, and I don't even think it's getting impressions anyway, so whatever. But even though no ads are running at all on my book, so it's not costing me anything, I actually sold 4 copies of my books this last week, or last 5 days. I might have sold a copy last week actually, so I probably sold about 6 copies in the last week. And that's with no ads running. So, I mean, that's terrible compared to what it was last month or the last 3 months, really, since Visaria Online came out. But for someone who's not running ads and my books are slowly sinking, it's not too bad. I mean, I would have been happy with 5 or 6 book sales in a week, like 3-4 months ago before Visaria came out. So I'm not upset about it, and I want to really preserve all my profits, as I've said before, from Visaria Online, just so I can invest in the business, and yeah, not just waste it all on ads and maybe not. I mean, I know you've got to spend money to make money, but I just want to preserve. Like, I don't want to have to stuff around with it. I want to focus on Raid Slayer, getting that out there, and not have to deal with marketing and all the other stuff at the moment. I just feel a bit burned out still with all that type of stuff, so I'm just having fun with what I'm doing, and I'm hoping Raid Slayer will take off, sort of thing. So even though it's under a pen name, but that's fine. And speaking of investing in the business, I've bought Pro Writing Aid to help me with the editing and just get it as clean as possible. If I hopefully can get my proofreading costs down, if I can just, yeah, make a book as clean as possible. I mean, I already write pretty cleanly. I've had a couple of editors say that. But yeah, I just want to make it as clean, like, you know, that they hardly have to do anything and hopefully don't get charged as much, because I want to really reduce the cost of my books. I haven't had copy editing done since Heir to a Lost Son because I just don't think I need it for the most part. Like, I'm sure my writing isn't 100% perfect everywhere. There's probably things that could be worded better, redundant words, whatever, but yeah, it's just not worth the investment for me now. I mean, there's plenty of books out there that have no editing. There was a bestseller I saw, had a missing word in the first sentence. So if other people are just throwing crap like up there, just join them, basically. I'm still going to do the proofreading and, you know, I'm still trying. I'm not just going to throw any old stuff up there, but yeah. It's just sad that that's the way things have gone, this minimal viable product type thing. Anyway, that's a topic for a whole other video. And I probably won't even touch that because, yeah, too controversial. So now my plans for the next week are I want to be definitely finish book 2 of Raid Slayer by Saturday. Probably even have it all edited. That won't take long, so I write pretty cleanly on the first draft. So yeah, I want to clean all that up. Another thing I've done this last week is I've worked out all the numbery type stuff and the class abilities not extensively on the class abilities, but yeah, all the number stuff, how I'm going to show the numbers in the book, like what it's all going to be laid out like. Yeah, just a whole bunch of litRPG stuff that normal writers don't have to worry about. So that's all done. That actually took a fair few hours because you've got to think of game mechanics and what does strength, how does that benefit a warrior class compared to a mage class, or anyway, just a whole bunch of gamey type stuff. So that took a bit of planning, and I'm just glad that's out of the way. I just mostly based it on the Fasaria Online stuff, but I just toned it back a bit. But I still had the change enough that I actually had to work it out for the Raid Slayer books too, and just the outside world. Even though the real world might not be represented in the game, I still need to reference it every now and then so you get an idea of what the real world is like. I'm trying not to be too complex with stuff like that. Like there is a whole story in the outside world, like it's a dystopian world and all that. Anyway, I'm trying not to go too off tangent on that in the book because, yeah, I want to focus on the central story and just get it finished because I could have probably written a full-length book out of this series, let's put it that way. Hopefully by the next video I'll be well into writing book 3. I'll be a bit upset if I'm not. Hopefully I'll even be a quarter of the way through book 3 of Raid Slayer, so I really, really would love to have gotten it finished before the end of this month, but that doesn't look like it's going to happen. Then again, I think I started this series on the 8th of July, so as long as I can finish it all in a month, I guess that's fine. And I'm already thinking of keywords and all the research for releasing the book as well. I'm actually still collecting keywords for ads and everything too, like other book titles and authors and all that sort of stuff. So I'm keeping up to date on that. So I really want to optimize my ads and keywords for this launch because I'd love for this series to take off, though I fully expect to be hit by Amazon for page reads and all that. So there's not going to be too much upfront costs, but still I'd like to actually make a nice profit again, I guess, and prove to myself that I can launch a book properly a second time. And I still need to get back to Fasaria Online and Air to a Lost Sun at like book 2, but yeah, kind of hard to do when I'm so focused on Raid Slayer at the moment. So anyway, it's just too many projects at once, I guess. I just need to focus on one thing and then on something else. I can't multitask that well when it comes to the writing part anyway. I think that about sums everything up. Thank you for listening, everyone. Take care.
Thanks for listening to Riley's Indie Author Journey podcast. Please subscribe and share the podcast with your author friends. Have a good author week writing and selling your books. Until next time, take care.